SID, baby. You ready? Or not? Cook on the ones and twos, yeah. SAGU in the place to be. Yeah. Feels good, don't it? Hey. Feels good, don't it? Hey. Feels good, don't it? Here we go. Undefeated, just check the scoreboard. We transform just like a Megazord. Hit the floor, cause God gets praise. Living for his glory, ancient of days. Blessed with this talent, got haters in the days. Rambo, cross up, cats running in the maze. It's so sick, you know we won't quit. When it's just simple, ask Coach Boswick. We like Jordan in his prime, ladders we climb. Ask how we do it, cause God is divine. Jordan in his prime, ladders we climb. Ask how we do it, cause God is divine. Lions in the pack, never got slack. Pushing for greatness, never looking back. Hear the roar, check the score. Can't ignore talent, strength in the Lord. Lions in the pack, never got slack. Pushing for greatness, never looking back. Hear the roar, check the score. Can't ignore talent, strength in the Lord. Lions in the pack, never got slack. Pushing for greatness, never looking back. Hear the roar, check the score. Can't ignore talent, strength in the Lord.
Campus of Southwestern Assemblies of God University in Waxahachie, Texas, where today the SAGU men and women kick off a doubleheader to begin our broadcast season on the SAGU Sports Network today, hosting the University of Houston Victoria Jaguars. And Rob Price here alongside my host, Tim Robertson. Tim, we're already underway here in Game 1 on Lions Field.
Yeah, underway. Score is still 0-0 at this point as the ladies have kicked off their home schedule. The Lady Lions roll into this game at 0-2 on the season, coming off a tough overtime loss against St. Thomas, a game in which they were down 2-0 in the second half. See Amy Lambden here, just rings one off the crossbar. Amy Lambden almost puts it in. Yeah, the Lady Lions are opening up the season 0-2. And they are actually currently on a 15-game losing streak. Wow. So something they're going to try to get off of today against the University of Houston Victoria Lady Jaguars. Lady Jaguars own the all-time series between these teams 3-0. Last year they won this game down at University of Houston Victoria 5-1.
Today the Jaguars come into this game, Tim, with a 3-game winning streak. Their overall record so far in the year, 3-1-1. Their only loss came to William Carey in Game 1 of the season. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, Lady Lions 0-2, losing a tough one a few days ago down in Houston, the University of St. Thomas, 3-2 in double overtime, Tim. UHF women are 1-4 with their one win against the University of Mobile.
See a crossing pass here. It's the Lady Jaguars pushing down early. Move made inside, and going to the corner is Caroline Carvajal. And that ball is stolen away by Daniela Ramirez. Ramirez kicks it up ahead.
A bump there in the middle.
Long pass up ahead, opportunity, but the goalkeeper comes out and clears it away.
Gonzalez on the attack. She's a 5'3" junior from Red Oak, Texas. Transfer from Paris Junior College. Here's Joy Reyes. She scored a goal in the last game in that 3-2 double overtime loss. The other goal scored by Alexis Berrigan.
And already
here come the Lions.
Yeah, seeing some good offensive push from the Lady Lions. Long kick up ahead. That's going to be collected by the goalkeeper, prevents the corner kick.
Corral Gordy on defense. The Jaguars in red, and the Lions, of course, in their home whites. Game 2 coming up around 3 o'clock. Tim, the men will take center stage on the pitch, and they are off to a good start. They're 2-1 so far after a big win against the University of St. Thomas, 2-1. At the time, Tim, St. Thomas was ranked nationally in the preseason NAIA poll.
Yeah, it's a great start. Pull in for the save, Amber Belisle. Yeah, great start for the men trying to recover from a rough season. It was a rough season last year for the Lady Lions, making the move up to the Sooner Athletic Conference. Another save by Belial on a long kick. The Lady Lions went 0-10 in conference play, collecting only 1 goal in their final 10 games. So offense came at an extreme premium last year. Every time they scored a goal, it was few and far between. So already seeing them pull in a couple of goals this year, and early on here, you're seeing some very good offensive push up front. It was a weakness that Coach Fortner knew she had last year, and she would game plan accordingly to try to find a way to maybe get an early goal or keep the game tight and pull off a late goal. 2 years before, that's how they beat Our Lady of the Lake, and one of the biggest upsets. They just kept it scoreless till the very end when they were able to collect a penalty kick at the end of the game.
Coach Manny Fortner in her 4th year at the helm here at SAGU. She is backed up with 3rd-year assistant coach Kaylin Flores and 1st-year graduate assistant coach Natalie Pena. And
we got a sub here. Danielle Ramirez checks out, and in comes Gloria Lozano.
And of course the women's softball field nearby. We are beginning is it our 4th or 5th season? I lose track how many years we've been broadcasting now on the SAGU Sports Network, Tim.
There's a year 0 somewhere in there where where we were just guessing just about every week. But yeah, it's another full year of action. We'll have more details for you on upcoming games later on in the broadcast, and you're going to want to stay tuned. Full slate of football, volleyball, and soccer action this year.
Here's an attack from the Jaguars up over past the goalpost. Sails out of bounds and be a goal kick for Amber Belial. Amber Belial, a senior from Roseville, California, out of Whitney High School. In keep today for Coach Fortner.
Cleared up ahead and collected by the Jaguars right back down the field. A couple of long distance opportunities for the Lady Jaguars so far, but nothing all that threatening.
Tracking that down is going to be Darby Price, no relation to me. Not that I know of. I have no relatives in Scottsdale, Arizona that I know of, Tim, so I can't claim her as family. But we share the last name. Now here's Brianna Holmes on the right side. She's shadowed by Amy Lambden, the senior, a 4-year veteran, Tim. She's been really one of the foundations of this program, Miss Lambden has been.
Yeah, she's been around for a while now. Obviously, not from the beginning. It's been 7 years now, but she's one of the last people that played with people who were here from the beginning. So she's still remembers at least stories they would have told from the very beginning, how things used to be with this program.
And that ball will sail out of bounds right underneath our camera operators. And Jacqueline Ollie will check that. It will be Ollie. And subbing in to the game is number 9 for the Jaguars. That's going to be Ashley Romeo, a midfielder, a sophomore from Pearland High School. She heads it back up ahead now to Megan Huerta on the left side. Centers. She's got help. Another center and a weak shot on goal from Romeo. Headed out of trouble by Kaylee Cox. Good defense from the 5'6" sophomore from Midlothian, Texas, just up the road.
Playing with fire a little bit right there. They had a couple of good crosses across the middle, just never really were able to collect the ball and get a good shot off. Credit the Lady Lions defense with just interrupting the flow. Long kick here.
Shot on goal, yeah.
That sails wide left, and Berlisle was all over it, though.
Let's talk about the weather here today. It's still pretty hot here down here in Texas. I think it's going to be mid-90s today. It's about 1:30 here in Central Time in Texas.
It is mid-90s out there on that field. There is a cold front on the way. You can feel it. There's a heavy wind out there that was earlier. You can kind of feel it on the edges of the wind that there is a cold front moving in. Now, of course, in Texas, a cold front means it's only going to be 80 tomorrow, but there is, in fact, a cold front rolling in. We might just start to see some edges of fall start to emerge here in early September. But no, it is definitely hot on that field, and it'll play a factor.
Here comes a capo. She's got to whistle past 2 defenders and stopped near the penalty kick area.
Yeah, Kaylee Cox, good job to break that one up. But that's where it comes. Obviously, both these teams from Texas, they train in Texas, and it makes you a stronger team having to play and practice in the heat of August. It can be flat out unbearable. Long pass up ahead opportunity, but unable to get to it before the goalkeeper. Samantha Wooster kicks it off deep. And now back up ahead for the Lady Jaguars.
Good defense inside as Sheila Acapo is really putting a lot of pressure on those defenders, Tim.
And that was Kaylee Cox again, I believe, getting in the way, just interrupting the chance.
Lozano having some trouble with Acapo. And here come the Jaguars again. That sails clear.
And you saw it again there. They are doing a good job of getting these crosses off. They are trying to find the open person and get it across. So far, SAGU has done just enough to keep them from collecting it cleanly and trying to bury it in the back of the net. So we have a goal kick here. Sailing up and wide. Goes right out of bounds and back to the Lady Jaguars.
Emily Lupton. Right side over to Brianna Holmes. And that sails wide.
Over the fence.
That's home run.
That's about a 30-foot fence there, and she just cleared it no problem. So now, I mean, I think you have to stop the game. Someone has to climb over the fence, jump in the backyard, and get the ball, right?
Or there's another ball in the court.
That's why you got a spare. I guess somebody's got to go knock on the front door of Mr. Peterson's house and say, hey, we lost our ball in your backyard.
Get off my lawn.
The perils of having a school right next door to a neighborhood. You gotta deal with that. Ball again sailing. You can see the wind really whipping in the SAGU soccer banner right there on the sidelines. Decent fan attendance here today for a 1 p.m. start on a school day.
It's a shot from down near the bottom of the field. So you see a ground view.
Whistle is blown.
It's going to be side out. Side out going to be
the new addition there, the
Jaguars
really
ball.
Nice dugout for the men's baseball field now. First time you got a good view of that. Fans taking advantage of the natural shade that provides. Been some really good additions to those two fields in the last few years. SAGU softball field a few years ago was nothing more than just kind of a practice patch. Done a real good job renovating that. Got a real nice scoreboard out there for some home baseball and softball games. Obviously, those will come rolling around in January and February as they'll try to build off, at least the baseball team will try to build off of a really solid season last year that saw them make the SAGU Athletic Conference tournament in their very first year. That was a big talking point all last year is all these teams, and you saw how it affected both men's and women's soccer teams. Neither of them were able to collect a win in the SAGU Athletic Conference. You really see with the Lady Lions, there was this rise of power that they kept on having every year. They were getting better and better. In 2012, they went 6-11-1 and went 4-5-1 in the Red River Conference, looking really good. And then you saw the absolute immediate rise in competition when you had to go against a full SAGU Athletic Conference schedule. Were unable to pick up a win, even a tie in that. Like we said, only had one goal over the entire span of conference play. The men faced some similar difficulties. But
that helps you get better, Tim.
Oh, it
you
does.
really want to rise to the level of your competition at some point. So I think overall the school is glad to make that leap, if you will, upward to the Sooner. The Red River's a fine conference, but Sooner, like you said, much more competitive from top to bottom.
Yeah, it's much more competitive, and I think it has really driven a lot of these teams to play a lot better. Obviously, the basketball team did really good in their very first year. They were able to win the regular season conference championship. The women's team was able to make it back to the conference tournament, something they were not able to do in their last year of the Red River Athletic Conference. And I would say the only sport in which you might not see better play is in volleyball, and that's only because you're dodging Brownsville, UT Brownsville,
a powerhouse,
the perennial powerhouse. That when you went down there, and I mean there was just pretty much no way. I once asked Coach Moore, how would you beat UT Brownsville? He just said, we would have to play the best game we've ever played, and they'd have to be way off. They were just such a powerhouse. So maybe in volleyball you've got a little bit of advantage. You're not playing that powerhouse, but it's still such a solid conference. Plus, one of the top teams in Red River followed you right up there with Texas Wesleyan. So you're still dealing with them every year. But all in all, this is a sports program immensely on the rise across the board.
And you talk about football, finished 6-4, the first winning season in the history of SAGU Lions football in the Central States Football League, and really on the rise again. The big question mark this, as you see, and looks like Amber Belial is down, slow to get up.
And that ball's still in play. She was down the whole time, but that ball was still in play.
Looks like she took a kick to the gut, Tim.
Yeah, she made 2 big saves and then hit the turf. Just an absolute near miss.
And we're going to have a stoppage in play as they'll attend to
they're going to send the trainers out.
The trainer, exactly, to check on Amber.
It's hard to tell exactly what happened because there was just kind of a frenzy around her.
She's up now.
Yeah, she is up and standing now, so that's good to see. There was just this frenzy as she made 2 saves, and then again, there was no whistle blown. She was lying on the ground.
Defenseless.
The goal was wide open, and it was hard to tell who got the kick in to essentially make the save, because that ball is going to roll into the net uncontested if the defender doesn't knock it away. So again, you see University of Houston Victoria knocking on the door, trying to net a goal, but SAGU doing just enough to keep this game scoreless.
You do have Kathleen Espinosa and Angelina Bickley, ready to back up Amber. Both are actually 5'2" sophomores, one from Corpus Christi, that being Espinosa, and Bickley's from Taylorsville, but looks like Amber might be staying in the game. She's a tough cookie.
So it's tough to tell from that exact vantage point, but it looked like she might have been holding her arm too when she first came up.
Back to the football, though. They finished 6-4, Tim, the first winning season in the history of Lions football, and really are poised to improve on that. But the one big question mark, how do you replace the offense, the leadership, the tenacity of quarterback Reed Golson?
Yeah, no, that's such a big thing. He really came into his own at the end of last year to help elevate them to that position where they were eventually, through a series of off-season incidents as well, named the conference co-champions. So they actually ended up netting a conference championship.
Now, how did that happen? Because you had that all figured out last semester. Telling us, you know all the ins and outs. How did that happen?
Well, it was an incident where they did good enough to be in a position at the end of the year to have a conference championship, and then the team who technically had won it received a little bit of discipline at the end of the year that resulted in a forfeiture of the conference championship. But SAGU was right there. They were, I believe, 4-1 in conference play. So they were right there knocking on the door anyway. So it's not a complete consolation prize. You never want to get a championship because someone else had to give it up. But they did enough to earn it. They just, were not able to, get it until somebody fell. But they are looking really good. Had a good opener. Good opener against Bethany up in Lindsborg, Kansas. They were poised to win that one, at the very least poised to make a good comeback. A late offsides penalty turned what would have been a field goal into a touchdown, and then Bethany just tried to kick a squib kick. One of the guys in the front line, not even really doing a bad thing, trying to knock the ball down and collect really good field position, just swatted it back, and all of a sudden it was an onside kick. What a save!
Wow.
If there's any question about whether Amber Belial was ready to go,
she's fine.
Gets right back up and saves that rocket. So we're now approaching the 8-minute mark left here in the first half.
Defense is right there. We're tied 0-0.
Yeah, still scoreless. And, credit Amber Belial and really those back three who have been swarming around the Lady Jaguars in the box, preventing many clear shots, and the clear shots that they have got, Amber Belisle has collected.
Here's the corner from the left side. And it did sail wide out of bounds. Lions looking to break, unfortunately, a 15-game losing streak. So far looking like they're being very competitive against these Jaguars.
Yeah, closing last year with 13 straight losses, opening with 2 straight again. You're playing St. Thomas. They were just minutes away from that game being officially a tie before the Lady Celts were able to pull out that win. But you love the heart you're seeing there because the Lady Lions were down 2-0 in the second half. And for a team that's lost so much, that can just be a death sentence. You're down 2-0. You're on the road. Let's just coast to the end, get on the bus and go home. But they fought back, scored 2 second-half goals to force the overtime. So you love the fight that's in this team. It's a team that's tired of losing. It's a team that's tired of being on the short end of the straw. They have definitely improved all across the board, offensively and defensively. So I seriously doubt you're going to see another 2-16 year out of Mandy Fortner's Lady Lions.
And Fortner told us here on the SAGU Sports Network a couple of days ago that her team understands, quote, that much more is expected of them. So the stakes are higher as you get better. The fans, the faculty, the staff, family, we know it's coming. So, and Fortner makes sure that that is impressed upon these kids in practice. Listen, it's time to win now. You have the talent.
And again, we were just talking about it. The program drives yourself up. This has never been, in past, you would not consider this an elite sports program. Your basketball team is now a perennial championship contender.
And a respected name in the NAIA team.
Yeah. Your football team is now breaking through some of its old barriers.
Yes.
Your volleyball team is, again, a perennial contender in conference tournaments, things like that. So there is an entire elevation of the entire sports department where now, as a team, you want to go, well, let's not be known as a basketball school or football school. Let's make sure soccer's known as well. Inside and just knocked wide. Again, the Lady Jaguars just slowly, methodically making a move down the field.
What I don't like is most of the action is on Amber's side of the field. That's a little concerning. Score, as you see, still 0-0. But we need to see that ball penetrate more the Jaguar side, the right side of the field, as we are nearing the 5-minute mark in the first half of play here at Lions Field.
Lady Lions had some good offensive pushes early, but it's kind of been snuffed out as of late. And like I said, the best offense is a good offense is the best defense, and that rings the most true, I feel like, in soccer, because if you are pushing down, you are forcing the forwards to play at midfield, and the midfielders play on defense. Therefore, they're not going to be able to get that push. You're eliminating even the potential for an offensive attack because you have to keep 6-7 people back around the goal just to even prevent a goal. Here's the throw in from, I believe, Caitlin Flippin.
Somewhere near the time that Amber was injured, Shekinah Ellis, known as Shay, she's a freshman, a 5'2" freshman, checked into the game. She wears number 2. You see her right there, from Frisco, Texas. It's nice to see a handful of freshmen, Tim. I count 4 to 5 freshmen on this team for Fortner. Check that, 6 freshmen.
It's always going to be a young team, and that young blood can be really good, especially when they bring in the talent and they don't bring in necessarily the problems of last year. Another save.
Easy shot right to Amber's mitts.
Yeah. Amber Belisle is pulling in the save stat so far in this game.
Fortner says there are 2 names to watch for, Tim, and that's Nadine Jaimes and Joy Reyes. She calls them a huge threat to the offensive game this season. Also, Fortner's pretty high on Alexis Berrigan, calling her a huge strength in the midfield. Of course, Amy Lambton, the senior, and 2 of those 4 names I mentioned have the 2 goals. Joy Reyes and Alexis Berrigan scored 2 goals in that last game against St. Thomas. So, what Fortner's season practice is beginning to happen on the field.
Ball's knocked out. And so it'll be a corner for the Lady Jaguars. They'll all bunch up around the goal.
It's good to see Samantha Gonzalez back. We lost her halfway through the season last year, Tim, but she's back at full strength. And she, in fact, started this game. She's a junior, 5'3" junior from Red Oak, Texas.
Ball was loose there for too long. That's again, playing with fire when you're letting those corner kicks just sort of hang around, actually make contact with the dirt. You are allowing the opponent to get a chance there, but No real harm done. Here with throw in is Jacqueline Ollie.
That sails wide, out of bounds, into Mr. McKenzie's yard, right? That's I think someone like that. And they'll switch out balls nearing the 2-minute mark. 0-0 here at Lions Field. If you're nearby, come on out to catch the second half of this game, plus the men coming up around 3 o'clock as they host the Jaguars men's program. Here comes Jaimes. On up ahead to Lozano. Nice pass up ahead to Jaimes. And now finally we're seeing some action here on the Lions side. Now here comes Jaimes. Easy shot on goal, but good to at least see some activity on the right side of the field.
Good collection of passes. One really good pass got kind of spun out by the defender. Now typically derail kind of the continuation there. Lady Lions did a good job of recovering, maintaining possession. And here they come again. Jaimes can't catch up to it though, and it sails out of bounds, turns it over to the Lady Jaguars. But it is good to see that. And I think the wind is picking up. You see the U.S. flag there. And we're seeing all these balls come out this end, and that is exactly where the wind is blowing. So that's looks like it might be affecting how the teams are playing, those throw-ins, the kicks. So if you're playing along this sideline, you have no margin for error in these long kicks as the wind is howling out there today.
The next game for men and women will be Friday in 2 days, September 12th, on the road at Texas College out there in Tyler. And then they'll have a game the very next day. Quick turnaround, Tim. They go on the road again to Texarkana, where they play A&M University out of Texarkana. And then back home, we'll have that game for you Thursday, September 18th, hosting Wiley College right here in Waxahachie.
Here comes Lambden. Strong kick ahead, and that's a goal!
Wow! Lambden from another zip code sails it through.
What a rocket, and they are surrounding her. Amy Lambden, oh, gotta love that one. Just fires it in. That looked like it must have been from 25 yards out. Just goes over the goalie's head, unable to collect it in, and SAGU is up 1-0 late in the first half.
Under a minute to play, and the senior strikes for the Lions.
That was an absolutely beautiful goal from Lambden. Again, a very innocuous situation for the Lady Jaguars. Play on is the call from the referee here. Yeah, you have the player, but Lambden saw she had good separation between her and the nearest defender. Decided to go ahead and give it a shot and see what's happened.
I think that was closer to maybe 35, 40 yards. We'll have to try to take a look at that length. That was, we know the penalty box is 40 yards left to right, and that kick was well beyond the penalty box, of course. Wow. I think she just caught the goalie off guard.
Yeah, the goalie was playing too far out, so by the time she was able to retreat back in, she made the leap and was just unable to even get a fingertip on it. Sails over her head.
We are at halftime here as the ball stops near midfield and the Lions strike gold with under a minute to play. Here it is again, the left footer. Boy, it's got to be at least 35, 40 yards. Right, perfectly pinpoint kick right over the outstretched arms. Into the back of the net. Lions go to halftime leading 1-0.
That's just such a huge goal, especially that late in the half when you're dealing with a situation where, really that's the situation where with the way the first half has gone, you're probably happy to go to halftime tied at 0 with all the opportunities that the Lady Jaguars have had, but to actually be able to strike late like that, pull off the stunning shot, and be up 1-0. And actually, that was not the end of the half.
So check that. They did add some time.
We have some added time here. So there's a long kick from the goalkeeper.
But they did actually stop play to figure it out, which is a bit odd at times. But nevertheless, a few more minutes of play. And Shay Ellis giving the defender all she can handle. That's Jacqueline Ollie. Lions will keep it right here. Maybe try to strike one more time before this half is over. Jaimes over to Shea, and now there's a whistle. Give it back to the Jaguars. Amy Lambden from Stockton, California.
And now we have reached the end of the first half. So the Lady Lions, nonetheless, ring in a very late goal.
And you see at the bottom of your screen, Lambden's still fired up.
She's got to be after that one. That was just a beautiful kick. You know, that's the ones you practice, but you would never actually try in a real game because you feel like the goal is always going to collect it. Pinpointed it, knocked it down. The Lady Lions, after pretty much a half in which, for the majority of it, they were on defense, score the late goal.
If we see that again, if we see it at halftime, I want you to watch how she kicked that. Perfect form, kept her head down, hit through the ball, not at the ball, and really planted her foot, and that gave it the velocity to do just that right there, to stay just long enough in the air over the outstretched arms of goalkeeper Samantha Wooster.
And you know what?
Here it is again. Look, she keeps her head down, then ups once it's up in the air. And there's all that leverage from her left foot.
And looking at it again, I think she could have been another foot or two back and still wouldn't have saved it. That was a great shot. She would have had to literally be on the line, which of course you're trained not to do. You don't play that far back.
Right.
Yeah, but again, look at this right here. Underneath the ball, just a rocket. I mean, just perfectly up, and then arcs down to, again, those are the ones you practice to be able to pull off in those situations. It is a huge one for the Lady Lions as they go up 1-0 late in the half. Again, as you said earlier, trying to snap a 15-game losing streak, trying to collect their first win of the 2014 season. And that right there is what you needed. What you needed, you know, especially when you're having some problems getting those clean passes off inside, to just be able to launch it deep and go ahead.
We are at halftime here at Lions Field on the strength of Amy Lambden. The Lions lead this game 1-0. Back in a few minutes here on the SAGU Sports Network.